What is your take on the theme for 2022, Break the Bias?
I think the theme of Break the Bias is a good theme for this year, and I think we should all recognise that breaking the bias isn't optional and it's a must at this point. We've been doing some research and looked at the World Economic Forum report, which stated that if we continue at the same rate of change, it would take a further 135 years to close the gender pay gap, which is just not acceptable. So we must break the bias now and force through positive change.
Do you think enough is being done by your industry to break the bias?
I think the finance sector in the Isle of Man, and specifically the industry that I work in, has made great strides in terms of breaking the bias and making positive change. I think there are a number of businesses which have very strong female role models, either running those businesses or in very senior level. And I think there are plenty of opportunities for females in our sector in the Isle of Man.
Which women have positively impacted your career?
I think there are several positive female role models I've had as part of my career, and also positive male role models as part of my career. And I think that point around breaking the bias and having diversity in terms of role models and senior mentors in terms of career is extremely important. Probably too many for me to mention, but someone who had a very positive impact on my career at an early age and actually throughout my career has been my mum. She stayed at home with 4 children for 16 years and then decided that actually what she really wanted to do at that point was to pursue a career in finance, which she was able to do in the Isle of Man with good opportunities for her. And she went on to have a 25-year career in the life sector, ending that career as head of investments.
What is the best advice a man or woman has given you?
I think there are probably a couple of pieces of advice that I've had that have really helped me. One is to be confident and not underestimate your ability or your talent. And I think confidence and self-assurance is extremely important. Another piece of advice, I really struggled when I had my children in terms of travelling, and we live and work on an island in a finance sector that is international in nature. So business travel is part and parcel of the role. I found it very difficult when my children were young, leaving them and feeling I was missing out on them growing up. And the advice I got at that point was, if you need to be away from your family, make it worthwhile. And that's something that I really took to heart and made sure that if I was travelling and if I had to be either at work or off island or in other countries for work, I needed to make it absolutely worthwhile. Otherwise, I would just be not there with my children.
How did you start out in your career?
I started with a training contract at Ernst & Young, but always on the fiduciary and advisory side of the business as opposed to audit. And I was very lucky in terms of the contract that I got at that point, and it allowed me to train in various parts of the business, which I think has set me in good stead to progress through the business. I was able to see how the accounting team, the administration team, the statutory function worked for the business that I was working with at the time. What that allowed me to do was work in different departments, understand different areas of the business, and then alongside the qualification, get a broader understanding of business, which really helped me with my career.
What did you want to be when you were younger?
I definitely didn't have a aspiration to be an accountant. I'm not sure many children do. I think I wanted to be a teacher, but that didn't happen. I fell into accounting by accident. I was applying for roles that were really in trust companies, looking for an administrative role, and I happened to get that role with Ernst & Young, who had a trust company at the time, and that's when I saw the opportunity with accounting.
What advice do you have for women starting out in your sector?
I would say try and get as much experience and as much broad experience as possible within your sector or your industry or your company. I think a broad understanding of how a business operates or how a sector operates can only set you in good stead as you progress through your career.
What advice would you give your younger self?
I think I would have said to my younger self to be more confident, to be more sure of my ability, and probably to shout a bit louder.
Will you help break the bias?